Hello, and welcome to Hedgehog Storytime, where I read my weird original fiction. The following story is part of the Edie Valley Project, linked to the playlist in the description below. Yes, you have to read them all. No, that is not a request. Here it is, gang. The finale. This one will be 2 parts, I think. Maybe 3? Probably 2. 2 parts. And then I'm going to lay Edie Valley to rest for a little while. It has been quite a journey. There are over 100 episodes, and it has been 2 years. Holy crap. Holy crap. I'll just say this now instead of in the next episode. My writing is definitely not going to go away. I'm still going to post a lot of things. I have a couple ideas for smaller stories. I have a big novel project that I want to start working on, and I'll post a couple samples of that inevitably. And also I'm going to try to honestly work on getting my first book published. So I hope you all are excited for all of that. And please enjoy the end, for now, part 1. Kay and Doug sat in their beat-up junker, just out of range of anything Abigail could throw at them from the syrup plant. Ahead, Aunt Marma's hideously huge, cartoonish face smiled at them from atop the front awning. The washed-out, sun-bleached tinge, especially on her cheeks and hairline, made it even more unsettling. Impatiently, Doug pumped his leg up and down with enough force to shake the car. Come on, where is he? He hissed, squinting through the bug-encrusted windshield. Did you ever actually confirm Mike was going to meet us? Kay sighed from the passenger seat. Well, no, but why would he miss this? She rolled her eyes dramatically. Be quiet, Doug. You're bringing down the IQ of the whole room. Did you ever consider that Abigail wouldn't get, suspicious, if not downright hostile, if she sees him meeting with us? He's probably trying to keep his cover. You should just go in already. I want to wait 1 more minute. Fine, have it your way. Kay went back to sulking out the window, while Doug tried his hardest to keep his anxiety down. They were closer than ever today, the 3 of them, leaning over his shoulder as if anticipating the slaughter. After this, maybe they would all go away. Maybe. Either that, or Abigail would join them. No. No way. This was one death that he wasn't going to regret. Because he was in the right. Justified. Not only had she ruined his life, but just how many others? How many kids had she tortured, or killed, or experimented on over the years? The bitch deserved to die. Yet the 3 still continued to stare him down. Stop staring like that. You know I'm right. Most of all you, Jilli. But no matter what he did, he couldn't stop his hands from shaking. He was just about to scream at them to fuck off when a pair of headlights cut through the bug guts and into their eyes. They both squinted, trying to see who it was. But they really couldn't tell until the car turned to pull up next to them. The side window came down, and much to Doug's disappointment, it wasn't Mike. Well, never imagined we'd find you here, Bailey. Niko Borisov smirked out the window. You take the Bifrost to get here. He had vague memories of Niko taking him to the hospital, and he remembered muttering some crazy stuff in the elevator. At the time, he'd been convinced that Niko was the god Odin. In hindsight, it made sense. He had the eye patch and all, but silly. This kid in no way resembled a god. Yeah, very funny. Nah, little Raven told me. Doug shot back. You here to take down Hodge, too? Who's that in the car with you? Though he'd only really met him once while in an off-gas-induced haze, Doug immediately leaned backwards. Paranoia was a very Niko thing, he somehow knew. This is Kay. He gestured to her, and she waved pleasantly. The backseat window of Niko's car rolled down, and Tommy Miller poked his face out. Of course, the other Miller siblings would be here, too. Wait, Kay? He asked, looking confused, but his face fell when he saw her next to him. Oh, never mind. Sorry, I thought you were someone else. Though she was too far away for Tommy to see, Doug couldn't miss Kay smile to herself a little. Cindy looked around Tommy's head. Oh, I know you. She's good, Niko. She nodded. She helped me escape from the cult. Slimy, though. Be careful. Excuse you, I am devious, she huffed, then proceeded to point a finger towards Niko. He's slimy. Anyway, Doug cleared his throat before Niko could react. Yeah, we're here for the bitch. What else will we be doing? Grinning, Niko leaned out a little further. And it seems we're allies for the time being. He signaled to the others in his car, and Tommy, Cindy, her vampire boyfriend, and the weird spacey kid all climbed out. Something about this seemed kind of strange to Doug.
Why do you guys suddenly want to offer so bad?
We don't really want to, Cindy spoke up. But she has, something nasty in her head.
Like a disease?
No, like a parasite. It's latched onto her and we need to get rid of it. We won't kill her if we don't have to, but
I'm going to kill her.
Doug interrupted.
I don't care about whatever supernatural bullshit is going on. I'll let you guys come with me, but only if you let me do it.
The other group all glanced at each other, looking nervous. It seemed like something in particular passed between Cindy and Niko. They would try to talk him out of it, maybe even stop him, but he would need the help to get to her, especially if Mike wasn't coming. Abigail had inevitably made Victor set up countless traps in there.
Fine,
Niko said finally, but don't lose your head. I know you don't really care what happens to you, but if you do something that endangers the rest of us, I won't hesitate to put a bullet through your skull. Capiche? Doug sighed, shaking his head. That was a mighty big stick up his ass if he'd ever seen one.
Capiche.
All right then, it's a deal. Niko held out his hand, which Doug initially had a little trouble grasping because his own was shaking so badly. He shoved both into his pockets quickly.
So are we going then, or what?
He asked, unable to avoid seeing Niko's wary look. Cindy rummaged around in the pouch strapped to her belt and pulled out a vial of blue nail polish. Not quite yet. Hold out your hand.
Afraid you're not going to be able to paint my fingernails, sweetheart, he scoffed. You'll just make a mess with the shaking and all. I cry myself to sleep every night because I know I'll never be the prettiest princess.
Cindy just glared at him and held out her hand. He sighed and laid his own on top of it, but was startled when the air around his hand froze in place as soon as he touched the skin of her palm.
How did you do that? He asked. I thought you needed, like, the books and the circles and things.
Not anymore. She smirked, but didn't elaborate. She then turned to Kay. Oh, no. The demon shook her head. I won't need it. Sorry to say, I won't be going with you. Cindy frowned, but shrugged her shoulders. That should give you some minor protection from physical harm, she explained, before turning back to Niko. All right, now we're ready. Before we go in there, Niko said, looking a little bashful, you know, just in case something happens, I wanted to say that it was, nice knowing you all.
Are we gonna stand in a circle and sing Kumbaya, or are we gonna kill this bitch?
Doug sighed dramatically. Niko looked about ready to sock him.
You're in thin ice, Bailey.
Yeah, let's go. The others went ahead, walking as calmly as they could towards the abandoned syrup factory. There was no point in hiding. Abigail would inevitably see them coming, no matter where they tried to hide. But Kay held Doug back a step. You know they're going to try to stop you, right?
I'm well aware.
What will you do if they get in your way? Doug paused, the only movement the shaking of his hands as he gripped the knife in his sweatshirt pocket.
I don't know, he said finally.
Just don't forget our deal. I fulfilled my end of the bargain, so this is your one shot.
I know. Thank you, Kay.
He turned away, beginning to walk after the others. Kay giggled to herself, but of course didn't follow. It's all up to you now, buddy. Just please, for the love of God, Tommy, don't get in his way. Cindy and Niko reached the door first and hesitated. What do you think is on the other side? Cindy asked. I have no idea, Niko admitted. It could be anything, knowing her. You think I ought to go first? She said. Or maybe Lucius, just in case. Niko frowned.
I don't know. She might be expecting that. Stop discussing and just open the damn door already.
Doug pushed them both aside and reached towards the door handle.
This is Abigail we're talking about. She's expecting everything.
And without a second's pause, Doug grabbed the front glass door firmly by the handle and pulled. The others held their breath, but nothing happened.
What the hell? Tommy growled. Are you trying to get us killed? That door could have been rigged with explosives or other traps or... It wouldn't have.
Doug just laughed him off, stepping confidently into the factory.
Then we'd be dead. She doesn't want us dead yet. Then she won't get to play with us first.
Once they saw that Doug had made it past the threshold unscathed, Cindy and Niko followed suit, Marcell, Tommy, and Service close behind. The room they entered must have at one point been the front offices and reception area, but now it was dark. The couches and other furnishings were faded or just plain missing, and everything was covered in a layer of dust. You seem to know a lot about her, Marcell commented. Doug laughed for about a solid minute.
You could say that,
he said finally, before holding out his shaking hand.
She's the reason I'm like this.
He continued forward, towards a heavy-looking door.
Come on, Hodge,
he called upwards. Come out, wherever you are. He grabbed the handle and yanked it, but nothing happened.
What the hell?
Doug yanked it harder. Niko just sighed.
That's not going to do anything, you know. Your arm's going to rip off before that gives. Well, do you see any other exits?
Frowning, Tommy looked backwards. Maybe we went in the wrong way. There's multiple entrances. She might have blocked this one off. No good. Cindy shook her head. Over by the entrance, she locked it. Meanwhile, while the rest started arguing about what to do, Service wandered off. There was another room just off of this one, and the door was already open. He wondered what was in it. He'd never really felt curiosity before, so thought it might be worthwhile to indulge it.
I could try melting the door,
Cindy suggested. She knows what you're capable of, at least when it comes to fire. Marcell shook his head. She's probably Cindy-proof this whole place. Just then, Service stumbled out of the other room.
Key?
He asked, holding the said object up for everyone to see.
Where did you find that?
Niko asked.
More importantly, Doug interjected, why the hell did you bring a kid along?
He's not a kid. Tommy didn't bother to explain, instead turning to Service. Where did you find that? Service pointed to the other room, and the others followed him. Inside was a small office, complete with filing cabinets, a desk, and a long fossilized potted plant. In the chair behind the desk was a mostly decomposed skeleton. There were still a few wispy bits of hair on its head, and a few tatters of cloth covered its lanky frame.
In his eye.
Service shrugged, pointing to the skeleton's empty eye socket.
Tragic, isn't it?
Came a voice from the old squeaky speaker hanging from the wall.
He was such a nice man. Unfortunately, he decided it was a good idea to argue with me when I shut down the factory all those years ago. Something about all the workers losing their livelihoods. I don't know, I didn't really listen.
While the other's eyes were still fixed on the skeleton, Doug's lit up like Christmas lights.
There you are, you little bitch.
He grinned.
Hey, I take offense to that.
Abigail's tinny reply bit.
I am not little.
Doug rolled his eyes.
But my,
she continued.
I didn't expect there to be so many of you. You heroic types just multiply like ants, don't you?
Consider that your fault, Niko said. You just can't seem to stop making enemies. She sighed.
I know, it's a problem I have, but it just makes life so much more entertaining, because now I get to play with all of you.
Is that what she's calling it? Marcell mumbled under his breath.
Anyway, you now have the key, so why don't you use it? I'm waiting just ahead. I'm so excited to see you all.
Her laughter was cut off as the speaker cut out. Without hesitating, Doug snatched the key from Service, who offered little resistance, and marched to the door. Wait a second. Cindy reached a hand out to grab his shoulder. We have no idea what she's planning. We need to take a minute to come up with a...
There's no point,
he interrupted, impatience etched into his features.
She'll just outsmart us anyway. When it comes to her, the best plan is to have no plan.
But, Cindy started, but no one tried to stop him as Doug jiggled the old rusty key in the hole. Deep down, they knew he was right. Doug cursed under his breath as the old door stuck from years of rust, but finally he managed to wrench it open. They all crowded around, yet even Doug hesitated to enter. Beyond, the room was dark, with only a singular lamp towards the back of the room as illumination. It rested on a desk, partially blocked by the person sitting in front of it. Her back was to them, but with the dark braids, there was only one person it could be.
There you are, you bitch.
Doug reached a hand into his pocket and stalked across the room to grab her with the other.
Do you have any idea what I'm going to do with... The hell?
As the others followed him, they saw what had made him pause. The person in the chair wasn't Abigail at all. Its wig fell to the ground, and Doug let the rest of it drop after it in disgust. Just a dummy.
Oopsie!
Abigail cackled from the speakers.
Looks like you activated my trap card.
The door slammed shut behind them, leaving the room in near darkness. But out of that blackness came a sudden noise, a buzzing that only got louder and louder. Then the first buzzsaw passed by Niko's ear. Fucking hell, he growled, ducking out of the way. Cindy reached for Marcell. Tommy backed away from the noises. And then the floor fell out from under him. He screamed, but the sound was quickly cut off as the floor closed over him. Tommy! Cindy made to run forward, but another saw nearly sliced her nose off. Marcell grabbed her by the waist to pull her back, and as soon as they were together, they were gone as well. Shit! Shit! Niko cried out. He realized then that the buzzsaws weren't intended to hurt them. Bailey, don't move if you can help it. She's trying to hurt us.
Yeah, no shit, he swore. Wait, what about the kid? Is he gonna be... Well, never mind.
Service at that moment fell out of sight as well. With only 2 of them left, the saws got more aggressive. Niko tried to picture where they were forcing them to go and avoid it, but it seemed as if there was no particular place at all. All right, Bailey, you're the Abigail expert. What do we do?
Unless you want to get killed. Nothing.
What do you mean, nothing? At this rate, we're gonna... But then he realized a split second before it happened that it was all over. His shoe landed on something hard, a small panel in the middle of the floor, and as soon as it was pushed down, there was no floor at all anymore. He fell downwards, stretching his hand upwards to grab something, but an instant later he knew that there was no hope as the floor closed above him.